A gavel slammed down like a thunderclap in that stuffy courtroom, echoing off the walls as the judge's voice cut through the tension. Case dismissed. Judgment for the defendant. My grandson's face twisted in fury, his eyes boring into mine from across the room. At 65, I'd faced down wars in my youth, buried a husband, raised a family through lean times. But nothing prepared me for being sued by my own blood for calling him what he was, a liar. And now, with the compensation in my hands, I knew exactly where it would go. Not to line my pockets, but to the shelter where his ex-wife huddled in fear, rebuilding her shattered life from the bruises he'd left behind. I never imagined my golden years would involve depositions and lawyers' fees. But here we are. Let me take you back to how this nightmare unfolded. It started 2 years ago, on a crisp autumn afternoon in our family home in the suburbs of Chicago. The leaves were turning gold outside the bay window, and I just brewed a pot of strong black coffee, the kind that could wake the dead. My grandson, Alex, tall, broad-shouldered, with that charming smile he'd inherited from his late grandfather, stormed in without knocking, his face flushed redder than the maples. "Gran, you have to help me," he blurted, pacing the linoleum kitchen floor like a caged animal. "Sarah's lying about everything. She's trying to take the kids, the house, everything." Sarah, his wife of 8 years, mother to my 2 great-grandchildren. I'd watched their marriage unravel from afar, hearing whispers from my daughter, Alex's mum, about late nights, raised voices, and unexplained marks on Sarah's arms. But Alex, he was always the golden boy, star athlete in high school, steady job in sales, the one who brought me flowers on my birthday. I wanted to believe him. "Tell me the truth, boy," I said, setting down my mug with a clink. "What's really going on?" He spun a tale so smooth it could slide off silk. Sarah was unstable, fabricating abuse, claims to win custody. He swore on his grandfather's grave. It was all lies. My heart ached for him, but something nagged at me. The way Sarah had stopped coming to family gatherings. Her eyes shadowed when she did. I pressed him gently at first, then firmer. "Alex, if you're hiding something, it'll come out. Don't make me part of this." His charm cracked then. "You're calling me a liar after everything I've done for this family." He slammed his fist on the table, coffee sloshing over the rim. "Yes," I said quietly, meeting his gaze. "If that's what it takes to protect those babies." That word, liar, hung between us like smoke. He left in a huff, and I thought that was the end. But weeks later, a process server showed up at my door with papers. Alex was suing me for defamation, claiming I'd insulted his honor in front of family and friends, damaging his reputation amid the divorce. The claim: $50,000 in damages. My pension barely covered the mortgage. Where was I supposed to find that? I hired a lawyer on a shoestring budget, a sharp young woman named Elena, who took my case pro bono after hearing the details. "This is about more than words, Mrs. Harlan," she said over tea in my living room. "It's about silencing you." The trial dragged on for months, witnesses paraded through. My daughter, torn between loyalty to her son and the truth. Neighbors who'd overheard arguments, even Sarah, subpoenaed against her will. She testified from behind a screen, her voice trembling as she recounted years of control, isolation, and yes, physical blows. "He'd apologize with flowers," she whispered. But the cycle never stopped. Alex's lawyer painted me as a meddling old woman, out of touch and vindictive. But Eleanor dismantled it piece by piece, introducing emails, texts, and police reports Sarah had filed but never pursued, afraid of retaliation. The judge, a stern man in his 70s with wire-rimmed glasses, listened intently. In my testimony, I didn't hold back. Your Honor, at 65, I've seen enough lies to spot one a mile away. My grandson needs help, not handouts. And calling a spade isn't defamation. It's honesty. The verdict came swiftly, not guilty. Plus court costs awarded to me $10,000. Alex stormed out, muttering curses under his breath. As for me, I felt a weight lift, but also profound sadness. Families shouldn't fracture like this. That night, alone in my quiet house, I stared at the check. What to do with blood money? Then it hit me. The Willow House shelter, where Sarah had fled with the kids 6 months prior. A haven for women escaping domestic violence, offering counseling, job training, safe beds. I'd volunteered there years ago after my own sister endured a bad marriage. It felt poetic, turning Alex's attempt to punish me into support for his victim. The next day, I drove there in my old Buick. The check folded in my purse. The director, a kind soul named Maria, hugged me when I explained. "This will help so many," she said, tears in her eyes. Sarah was there, folding laundry in the common room. Our eyes met. No words needed. She nodded, a small smile breaking through. But the story doesn't end there. Word spread. Family gossip. Local news. Alex called furious. "You're twisting the knife, Gran." I hung up, my hands steady. At 65, I've learned boundaries are lifelines. This victory wasn't just mine. It was for every woman who's been gaslit, dismissed, or worse. If you're watching this and recognize your own story, know this: speaking truth has power. Seek help. Hotlines, shelters, friends. You're not alone. The phone rang at 2:17 a.m., 3 weeks after the verdict. A sound that still makes my heart lurch even now. I fumbled for the receiver in the dark, my arthritic fingers slow on the old rotary. "Hello? Grandma, you've destroyed this family." Alex's voice was thick, slurred with alcohol and rage. "Sarah's poisoning the kids against me. They won't even speak to me on supervised visits. This is your fault." I sat up in bed, the cold floorboards biting my bare feet as I switched on the lamp. At 65, sleep doesn't come easy anyway. And now it fled entirely. "No, Alex," I said, keeping my voice level, the way I learned decades ago when his mother was a screaming toddler. "This is the fault of the man who put his hands on their mother. You did this." He laughed, a bitter, broken sound. "You think donating that money makes you a hero? You're just rubbing it in my face. Everyone knows now. My boss, my friends. I'm the monster because my own grandmother called me a liar in open court. You called yourself a liar every time you denied what you did to Sarah," I replied. The words came out sharper than I intended, but I was tired. Tired of pretending, tired of protecting him from consequences he'd earned. He hung up without another word. I sat there in the glow of the bedside lamp, staring at the faded wedding photo on the dresser. Me at 22, beaming next to my late husband Tom, both of us so certain the world would be kind. How naive we were. The next morning I drove to Willow House again. Mariah had called the day before, asking if I'd speak to the new residents. "They need to hear from someone who stood up to family," she'd said gently. I wasn't sure I was the right person. After all, I'd failed to see the warning signs in Alex for years. But I went anyway. The common room smelled of fresh coffee and crayons. 8 women sat in a loose circle, some with babies on their laps, others clutching tissues. Sarah was there too, in the corner, helping her 4-year-old daughter color a picture of a rainbow. When she saw me, she stood and hugged me so tightly I felt her ribs through her thin sweater. "Thank you," she whispered into my shoulder. "The money you gave, it paid for a new security system. We all sleep better now." I swallowed hard and took my seat. The women ranged in age from 19 to 58, bruises in various stages of healing, eyes that darted to the door every time it opened. I knew those looks. My sister Ruth had worn them for 15 years before she finally left her husband. "I'm Evelyn," I began, folding my hands in my lap to hide the tremor. "I'm 65 years old, and last month my own grandson took me to court for calling him a liar, because that's what he was, still is, when he denied abusing his wife." A collective intake of breath rippled through the room. The youngest, a girl with purple hair and a split lip, leaned forward. "Your grandson? Like, family sued you?" "Family," I confirmed. "The same boy I used to push on the tire swing in my backyard. The one I taught to make my famous apple pie. Blood doesn't make someone safe. Love doesn't make someone safe. Only actions do." I told them everything. How Alex had always been charming but possessive, even as a teenager. How I'd dismissed Sarah's quiet pleas for help as marital spats. How I'd sat in that courtroom listening to recordings of Alex screaming at Sarah, calling her worthless, threatening to take the children forever if she ever left. How the judge had looked at him with something close to pity when the verdict came down. "And when I won?" I continued, voice steady now. "I could have kept the money. Lord knows my roof needs repairing and my car's on its last legs. But I thought, what good is winning if it doesn't help someone else escape the same cage?" Sarah spoke then, her voice soft but clear. "That donation bought trauma counseling for my kids. It paid for legal aid so I can finally file for full custody without drowning in debt. Mrs. Harlan, Evelyn, she turned her pain into armor for us." Tears were flowing freely now. The 58-year-old woman across from me, Marlene, reached over and squeezed my hand. "I wish my mother-in-law had been like you," she said hoarsely. "Mine still sends my husband money for lawyers to fight me." After the meeting, Maria pulled me aside. "Evelyn, the local paper wants to do a story. Anonymous, of course. No names, no identifying details. Just your experience. It could help others recognize the signs earlier." I hesitated. At 65, I'd never sought attention. My life had been quiet. Church on Sundays, gardening, spoiling grandchildren. But these women's faces lingered in my mind. "Do it," I said finally. "If my story keeps one grandmother from making my mistakes, it's worth it." That article ran 2 weeks later. Elderly woman wins defamation suit against abusive grandson, donates award to domestic violence shelter. They quoted me anonymously as EH, age 65, but word travels fast in small circles. My phone started ringing off the hook. Old friends, distant cousins, even reporters from bigger outlets. Then came the letters. Dozens of them, forwarded by the shelter. Women thanking me, grandmothers apologizing for doubting their daughters-in-law. One teenage boy wrote that he'd read the article and decided to get help for his anger before he hurt someone he loved. But not everyone was kind. Alex's mother, my own daughter Lisa, showed up on my doorstep one rainy afternoon, umbrella dripping on my welcome mat. "Mum, how could you?" she demanded, eyes red from crying. "He's my son." "He's Sarah's abuser," I replied, holding the door open. "Come in out of the rain, Lisa." We sat at the same kitchen table where Alex had once demanded my help. She clutched a tissue, twisting it until it shredded. "He's struggling, Mom. He lost his job. His friends won't talk to him. He's talking about hurting himself." My stomach dropped. Despite everything, the thought of Alex in pain clawed at me. Has he gotten help? Real help? A therapist? A program for perpetrators? Lisa shook her head. "He says it's everyone else's fault. That Sarah exaggerated. That you blew it out of proportion." "Then he hasn't changed," I said gently. And until he takes responsibility, he's not safe to be around. Not for the kids. Not for anyone. She left angry, slamming the door behind her. That night, I cried for the first time since the trial. For the little boy Alex had been. For the family that was shattered beyond repair. For the grandmother I thought I'd be. But tears dry. And at 65, I've learned that regret is a luxury I can't afford. There's still work to do. The knock came at dawn, sharp and insistent, pulling me from a dream where Alex was still 8 years old chasing fireflies in the backyard with a mason jar. I threw on my robe and shuffled to the door, peering through the peephole. 2 police officers stood on my porch, hats in hand, faces grim. "Mrs. Evelyn Harlan?" the younger one asked. When I opened the door a crack, "That's me. We need to speak with you about your grandson." Alexander Harlan. My knees buckled. I gripped the doorframe to stay upright. Is he hurt?" "No, ma'am," the older officer said gently. "He's in custody. Attempted violation of a protective order. He showed up at Willow House last night, intoxicated, demanding to see his children. The new security system you helped fund alerted us immediately. He didn't get inside, but he caused a disturbance. We thought you should know before it hits the news. I invited them in for coffee. Old habits die hard, and they filled in the details while I stared into my mug. Alex had been served with a full restraining order after the trial, barring him from coming within 500 feet of Sarah or the kids. But desperation, or arrogance, had driven him to the shelter's gates at midnight, pounding and shouting that Sarah was keeping his family hostage. Security footage showed him kicking the fence, screaming obscenities, before staff locked down and called 911. He spent the night in jail, sobering up. Bail hearing was set for that afternoon. After the officers left, I sat at the kitchen table for a long time. The same table where so many family milestones had unfolded. Birthday cakes, Thanksgiving prayers, Alex's high school graduation announcement. Now it felt tainted. I called Mariah at Willow House first. "How are the women holding up? The children?" Shaken, she admitted. A few had panic attacks. Sarah's little boy wet the bed. He thought his daddy had come to take him away. But no one was harmed, Evelyn. Because of the upgrades your donation made possible, we stopped him cold. Small mercies. I didn't go to the bail hearing. Couldn't bear to see him in orange, handcuffed, looking small. Lisa called me afterward, hysterical. They set bail at $25,000. "Mom, I don't have that kind of money. He'll sit in jail until trial if we can't post bond." I let her cry. Let her rage about how Sarah was destroying him, how the system favored women, how I'd started this avalanche. When she paused for breath, I said quietly, "Lisa, your son violated a court order. He terrified vulnerable women and children. This isn't about Sarah or me anymore. This is about him finally facing consequences." "You're heartless," she spat. "No," I replied. "I'm heartbroken. There's a difference." She hung up on me, just like Alex had weeks before. That evening, the local news ran the story. Man arrested outside domestic violence shelter in violation of restraining order. They blurred his face, but our town is small enough that everyone knew. My phone lit up with texts, some supportive, some venomous. An anonymous email called me a wicked old witch who belongs in a home. Another, from a woman I didn't know, simply said, "Thank you for showing us. Grandmothers can choose courage." I started volunteering at Willow House twice a week after that, not as a speaker this time, but in the nursery. Rocking babies whose mothers attended support groups, reading stories to toddlers who flinched at loud voices. At 65, my back aches from bending over cribs, but the weight of those tiny bodies against my chest heals something I didn't know was still broken. One afternoon, Sarah found me folding tiny onesies in the laundry room. She hesitated in the doorway, twisting her hands. Evelyn, Alex's public defender reached out. He wants to meet with me. Says Alex is willing to plead guilty to the violation if I agree to supervise visitation eventually. No more denying what happened. Mandatory batterers intervention program. Therapy. I set down the stack of clothes. What do you want, Sarah? She looked out the window at her children playing in the fenced yard, safe, laughing. I want them to know their father isn't a monster, just a man who did monstrous things, and that people can change, but only if they do the work. And you? Are you safe agreeing to this? She met my eyes, stronger now. I have conditions. Full admission in writing. No contact with me directly. Everything through lawyers. And I want you there when he starts the program's family session. As family. Me, the grandmother who'd once been his fiercest defender. I'll be there, I promised. 2 months later, I walked into the community center where the batterers intervention classes were held. The room smelled of stale coffee and desperation. 20 men sat in a circle, facilitators at the front. Alex was in the back row, thinner, eyes downcast. When he saw me enter with Sarah, at a safe distance per the rules, his face crumpled. The facilitator, a no-nonsense woman named Carla, explained the program. 40 weeks, no excuses, accountability at every step. You will admit what you did in detail without minimization. You will learn why you felt entitled to control and harm. And you will prove, over time, that you are safe. Alex raised his hand on week 3. His voice cracked as he spoke for the first time. I hit my wife. I isolated her. I threatened to take our kids if she left. I sued my own grandmother to silence her. I'm an abuser. Hearing it from his own mouth broke me all over again. But it was the first honest thing he'd said in years. After class, he approached cautiously, hands visible, no sudden moves. A rule they drilled into them. Gran, I don't expect forgiveness. I'm sorry. For all of it. I studied the boy, no, the man, in front of me. The charm was gone, replaced by something raw and painful. Sorry isn't a feeling, Alex, I said. It's action. Keep showing up. Do the work. Maybe one day those children will want to know you again. I didn't hug him. Not yet. Some bridges take years to rebuild. But as I drove home that night, windows down, cool spring air whipping through the car, I felt something shift. At 65, I thought my story was mostly written. Quiet retirement, occasional visits from family, fading gently into the background. Instead, I'd become part of something bigger. A chain of women holding each other up, refusing to let the cycle continue. And for the first time in a long while, I looked forward to tomorrow. The courtroom doors swung open again. But this time it wasn't for me. It was for Alex, facing charges that could lock him away for good if he slipped up one more time. I watched from the back row, my cane propped against the bench, feeling every one of my 65 years in the ache of my bones and the weight of memories that wouldn't let go. The judge, the same stern man from my trial, fixed Alex with a gaze that could curdle milk. Mr. Harlan, you've been given a second chance with probation and this program. Violate it again, and you'll see the inside of a cell. Alex nodded, head bowed, but I caught the flicker in his eyes. Defiance or despair? Hard to tell anymore. That was 6 months into his batterer's intervention. The program was no walk in the park. Weekly sessions dissecting power dynamics, role-playing healthy conflicts, homework assignments that forced him to journal every impulse toward control. Carla, the facilitator, kept me updated anonymously. progress reports without names, just participants showing mixed engagement. He'd slip sometimes, defending his past actions in group. But then he'd catch himself, apologize, dig deeper. Sarah attended separate survivor sessions, building her strength parallel to his deconstruction. I threw myself deeper into Willow House, turning my volunteer shifts into a lifeline. One crisp fall morning, as leaves skittered across the parking lot like forgotten secrets, Maria pulled me into her office. "Evelyn, we've got funding for a new outreach program, grandparent ambassadors, sharing stories to educate families on spotting abuse early. You'd be perfect as our first." "Me?" I chuckled, adjusting my glasses. "I'm no speaker, just an old lady who got lucky in court." "You're more than that," Mariah insisted, sliding a flyer across her desk. It featured a silhouette of an elder woman standing tall against a stormy sky. Caption: "Wisdom against violence. Grandparents breaking the silence. Your story resonates. We've had inquiries from other shelters, even a national organization." "Think about it." I did. That night, poring over old photo albums under the soft glow of my living room lamp, I flipped through pages of Alex as a child. Gap-toothed grins at birthday parties. Him clinging to my skirt during thunderstorms. Where had it gone wrong? His father, my son-in-law, had been a yeller, quick with criticism, but never fists. Had Alex learned control from subtler poisons? Or was it the world, teaching boys that vulnerability was weakness? The first speaking gig was at a community center in the next town over. A modest crowd of 30, mostly seniors like me, a few younger folks dragged by spouses. I stood at the podium, heart hammering like it did on my wedding day 43 years ago. "I'm Evelyn Harlan, 65 years young," I started, voice steady despite the nerves. "And I'm here because I almost lost my family to the lies we tell ourselves about love." I wove the tale without graphic details, just the emotional gut punches. The denial, the lawsuit, the donation that turned defeat into defiance. "Abuse doesn't always leave bruises you can see," I said. "It starts with words that erode, isolation that imprisons. As grandparents, we have eyes in the back of our heads. Use them, ask questions, believe the whispers." Questions poured in after. How do I confront my son without losing him? What if my granddaughter won't talk? I answered honestly, drawing from the program's teachings and Sarah's journey. One woman, silver-haired and frail, approached me afterward, tears streaking her powdered cheeks. "My daughter, she's in it now." I didn't know what to say until today. "Thank you." Word spread like wildfire. Soon, I was fielding invites from libraries, churches, even a webinar for a national DV hotline. Lisa called one evening, her voice softer than it had been in months. "Mom, I saw the article about your talks. Alex mentioned it in therapy, said it's making him think. He's talking to you about it?" I asked, surprised. "Yeah, we're trying. Family counseling starts next week. He wants you there, if you're willing." I paused, the phone cord twisting in my fingers. An anachronism in this wireless world, but comforting. Only if Sarah agrees. This isn't about mending fences for show. It's about safety first. Sarah did agree, with boundaries. Neutral ground, no physical contact, a mediator present. Our first session was tense, air thick with unspoken regrets. The counselor, a calm man named Dr. Reyes, started with ground rules. Alex went first, reading from a crumpled paper. I manipulated everyone to hide my shame. "Gran, I sued you because your truth scared me. Mom, I let you enable me. Sarah, I broke us. I'm working to be better, But I know words aren't enough, Lisa cried. Sarah nodded, arms crossed protectively. I spoke last. At 65, I've buried too many chances, but hope isn't dead here. Alex, prove it with time. Lisa, we support healing, not hiding. Sarah, you're the North Star. Your safety guides us all. It wasn't a hallmark moment. No group hugs, no instant forgiveness. But it was a start. Weekly sessions peeled back layers. Childhood traumas. Generational patterns. I shared about my own marriage, Tom's quiet strength, but also the times I swallowed my voice to keep peace. We teach what we live, I admitted. I won't pass on silence anymore. Outside therapy, life bloomed unexpectedly. The shelter's ambassador program took off. I trained 2 other grandmothers, one a retired teacher, the other a former nurse. We hit the road. Small towns, big impacts. A grant came through, partly inspired by my story, funding mobile units for rural areas where help was scarce. Alex completed his program probation-free, earning supervised visits with the kids. The first one, at a park under watchful eyes, was awkward but sweet. His daughter, now 5, handed him a drawing. A stick figure family under a sun. "That's you, Daddy," she said shyly. He wept openly, promising to frame it. As for me, at 65, I'm busier than ever. Speeches, support groups, even mentoring young advocates. The roof still leaks, the car still rattles, but my heart, it's full, mended in ways I never expected. Yet shadows linger. Not every story ends in redemption. Some women at Willow House return to abusers. Others vanish into the night, starting over alone. I honor them all, knowing my path is just one thread in a vast tapestry. If you're out there watching this, grandparent, parent, survivor, remember, age doesn't dim your fire. Fan it. Speak up. The world needs your voice more than ever. The snow fell like silent accusations outside the community center window, blanketing the world in white. While inside, voices rose in heated debate. During my latest talk, a man in the back row stood abruptly, his face flushed under the fluorescent lights. "You're painting all men as villains," he shouted, pointing a finger at me. "What about false accusations? My body lost everything over lies." At 65, I'd faced worse than hecklers, courtrooms, betrayals, my own doubts. But this was the spark that ignited the room, forcing us all to confront the uncomfortable grey between black and white. I held up a hand, waiting for the murmurs to die. "Sir, sit down. We're not here to demonize. We're here to dissect. False claims exist, rare, but real. But statistics don't lie. 1 in 4 women face intimate partner violence. I've lived it through my grandson. Denying the epidemic helps no one, including innocent men." He grumbled but sat, and the discussion shifted to nuance. How to support accused loved ones without dismissing victims. The role of due process in healing. By the end, he'd shaken my hand, admitting his body had indeed crossed lines. Moments like that reminded me why I kept going. Not to win arguments, but to plant seeds. It was winter now, a year since the trial. Alex had graduated from his bachelor's program with cautious praise from Carla. "He's internalized the tools," she told me over coffee. But change is a marathon, not a sprint. Supervised visits had evolved into longer outings, picnics, zoo trips, with a social worker shadowing. The kids warmed slowly. His son, 3, babbling about dinosaurs. His daughter quizzing him on colors. Sarah watched from afar, her trust a fragile thing, rebuilt brick by brick. One blustery afternoon, I joined them at the park. Alex pushed the swings, laughter pealing as the chains creaked. "Hiya, Daddy," the girl squealed. He glanced at me, eyes tentative. "Gran, thanks for coming. Means a lot." "Don't thank me yet," I said, wrapping my scarf tighter against the wind. "This is probation for life. One slip and it's over." He nodded. No defensiveness this time. I know, therapy's helping. Unpacking why I thought control equaled love. Dad was like that with Mom. Subtle, but there. I mimicked it without realizing. Lisa had come around too, attending Al-Anon-style groups for enablers. Our family sessions with Dr. Reyes grew less fraught, more productive. We mapped generational wounds. My own father's stoicism that taught me to endure quietly. Tom's occasional temper I'd excused as stress. "We're breaking chains," Dr. Reyes said. "It starts with naming them." My ambassador role expanded nationally. A DV organization flew me to DC for a panel. Me, alongside experts, survivors, lawmakers. The hotel room overlooked the Potomac, lights twinkling like distant hopes. At the event, I shared the podium with a senator pushing for better funding. "I'm no politician," I told the audience of 200, just a grandmother who refused to stay silent. When my grandson sued me for calling out his lies about abuse, I fought back and won. Then I donated every penny to the shelter housing his ex-wife, because victory means nothing if it doesn't lift others. Applause thundered. Afterward, a young aide approached. "Mrs. Harlan, we're drafting a bill for elder involvement in DV prevention. Your story could sway votes." At 65, testifying before Congress, surreal. But I did it, cane in hand, voice unwavering as I recounted the saga, without salacious details, focusing on systemic gaps. How grandparents are often sidelined, how shelters need more resources for multi-generational support. Cameras flashed, headlines followed. Grandma Warrior takes on domestic violence in Capitol Hill testimony. Back home, the ripple effects hit closer. Willow House, used part of ongoing donations, inspired by my initial gift, to launch a grandparents' hotline. Advice for navigating family abuse. Calls flooded in. My daughter-in-law's scared. How do I help without alienating my son? I manned shifts, drawing from hard-won wisdom. Sarah moved out of the shelter that spring, into a subsidized apartment with flower boxes on the windows. She invited me for tea. Herbal, no caffeine, as she juggled nursing school applications. "Evelyn, I got the divorce finalized. Clean break, shared custody with safeguards. And I'm dating again. A kind man from group therapy. Survivor himself." I squeezed her hand. "You deserve joy, dear. All of it." Alex heard about it through the kids. In our next session, he admitted jealousy, but checked it. "She's free. I have to earn my own peace." He was working again. Construction, physical labor that exhausted the anger. Even started volunteering at a men's crisis center, sharing his rock bottom. Not all was rosy. Lisa and I clashed over holidays. Who hosts, who invites whom? Alex needs normalcy, she'd argue. The kids need safety, I'd counter. We compromised. Neutral venues, no alcohol, open communication. At 65, my body protested the pace. Knees creaking on airplanes, eyes straining at screens. But purpose fueled me. I started a blog, Grey Wisdom, a grandmother's guide to ending violence. Ghost written with help from a young volunteer. Posts went viral. Tips on spotting red flags, scripts for tough talks, resources galore. One entry detailed a close call, an anonymous threat after my DC trip, a letter warning me to shut up or else. Police investigated, traced to a fringe online group. but it shook me. Maria beefed up shelter security. Alex called, concerned. Gran, be careful. I caused enough pain. It's worth it, I told him. Silence is the real danger. As summer bloomed, I reflected in my garden, pruning roses that had survived harsher winters than this. Life at 65 wasn't the quiet I'd envisioned. Bridge clubs and knitting. It was rallies, reunions, relentless advocacy, and in the quiet moments, pride. For Sarah's resilience, Alex's redemption arc, my own evolution from bystander to beacon. If this resonates, reach out. Hotlines are 24/7. Your story matters. Tell it. Live it. Change it. The envelope arrived unmarked, slipping through my mail slot like a serpent in the grass. Its contents a venomous scrawl. Stop spreading lies, old hag, or you'll regret it. At 65, with arthritis in my knuckles and a lifetime of scars, I crumpled it in my fist. But not before calling the police, turning a coward's threat into fuel for the fire I'd already lit across the nation. It was 2 years post-trial now. The seasons cycling like therapy sessions. Progress, plateaus, backslides. That letter was one of many. Hate mail from online trolls who'd latched onto my story after a viral podcast interview. Grandma versus grandson. When family turns toxic, the episode was called. I'd spoken candidly, microphone clipping my words as I recounted the lawsuit, the donation, the long road to Alex's accountability. Listeners flooded the comments. Support mixed with vitriol. She's destroying masculinity. One raged. Heroine of our time? Another countered. The cops traced the letter to a burner email. Dead end. But Maria at Willow House wasn't taking chances. Evelyn, we're assigning you a buddy system for events. She insisted over lunch at the Shelter's Cafe, where the aroma of fresh soup masked the undercurrent of urgency. And pepper spray, non-negotiable. I laughed it off initially. Me, a grandmother packing heat, but accepted. Advocacy had its shadows. I'd learned that in DC, where protesters picketed my testimony, chanting about family destruction. Yet the light outweighed them. The bill I'd championed passed subcommittee, allocating funds for grandparent training in DV intervention. Emails poured in from across the country. Shelters wanting collaborations, universities inviting lectures. Alex, meanwhile, hit a wall. His construction job folded under economic strain, leaving him scraping by on odd gigs. In our family session with Dr. Reyes, he admitted the temptation. Bills piling up, Gran. Part of me wants to blame Sarah. Say she ruined my life. But that's the old me talking. Sarah, thriving in nursing school, chimed in via video link. Her choice for distance. Accountability means handling setbacks without lashing out. Alex, the kids ask about you. Show them stability. He nodded, jaw tight. Later, he called me privately. Gran, I need a loan just to get back on feet. Promise I'll pay it back. My heart twisted. At 65, my savings were modest. Pension, social security, speaker fees trickling in. But lending to an ex-abuser? Risky. No loan, I said firmly. But I'll help you. Job hunt. Network through the men's group. Earn it clean. He grumbled, but agreed. We spent evenings polishing his resume over video calls, me in my cozy den, surrounded by books on trauma recovery, him in his sparse apartment. It paid off. A warehouse supervisor role, steady pay, benefits. Thanks, Gran, he texted after the offer. Feels good to build something honest. Lisa hosted Thanksgiving that year. First family gathering since the fracture. Neutral ground. Her backyard. Tables laden with turkey, stuffing, my famous apple pie. Sarah brought the kids, arriving with her boyfriend Mark, a gentle giant, survivor of childhood abuse, who shook Alex's hand without flinching. Tension hummed like a live wire, but Dr. Reyes's tools kicked in. Check-ins, breathing exercises. The kids bridged the gaps, drawing turkeys with crayons, pulling Alex into games. His daughter whispered, "Daddy, are you better now?" He knelt, eyes glistening, "Trying every day, sweetie. For you." I watched from the sidelines, sipping cider, feeling the weight of years. At 65, holidays weren't about perfection anymore. They were about presence amid the mess. My blog evolved into a book deal. Silent no more. A grandmother's stand against family violence. The agent found me after a TEDx talk that garnered 1 million views. "Your voice is raw, relatable," she said. "Let's make it a manifesto. Writing unearthed buried ghosts." My sister Ruth's bruises I'd ignored as clumsiness. My own muted voice in early marriage. Chapters flowed. Trial transcripts anonymized. Sarah's journey as a composite survivor. Alex's redemption as cautious hope. Royalties. Straight to Willow House. Expansions. Launch day was chaos. Bookstore packed. Media vans outside. I signed copies till my wrist ached. Each dedication a prayer. To your strength, break the cycle. You're not alone. A young woman in line hugged me. My grandma read your blog. She helped me leave last month. But fame's double edge cut deep. More threats. Online doxing attempts. A slashed tire on my Buick. Police upped patrols. Maria hired private security for events. Alex stepped up unexpectedly. "Gran, let me escort you to the next talk. I owe you protection." We drove together to a conference in Boston. Him behind the wheel, me navigating. En route, we talked depths we'd skirted, his childhood resentments, my regrets. "I should have seen your pain earlier," I admitted. "You did, eventually," he replied. "That's what counts." The talk drew 500. Q to May delved into policy, personal healing. Afterward, a reporter asked, "Mrs. Harlan, at 65, aren't you tired? Ready to retire?" I smiled. "Tired? Yes. Retiring? Never. Silence retires. Voices endure." Back home, spring thawed the ground, mirroring thaws in us. Sarah graduated nursing school, cap and gown, kids cheering. Alex attended from the back, no drama. Lisa and I co-hosted the party, toasts to new beginnings. Yet not all wounds scar over cleanly. A late-night call from Maria. A resident relapsed, returned to her abuser. "We can't save everyone," she sighed. "No," I agreed, "but we fight for the ones we can." At 65, my mirror shows lines etched by battles, but eyes alight with purpose. The story continues. Threats, triumphs, tiny steps forward. If threats come your way for speaking truth, document them. Seek allies. Your voice is armor. Wield it. The flashbulbs exploded like gunfire in the grand ballroom, blinding me as I gripped the podium's edge. My 65-year-old hands steady despite the roar of applause from 1,000 strangers who'd become allies overnight. Evelyn Harlan, the MC had announced, recipient of the National Advocate Award for her tireless fight against domestic violence. But as I stared into the sea of faces, survivors, senators, celebrities, I wasn't thinking of the trophy. I was remembering the night Alex showed up at my door sober and shattered, begging for a second chance that could unravel everything we'd rebuilt. It was 3 years since the trial. The calendar flipping pages, like a book I was still writing. The award ceremony in New York capped a whirlwind. My memoir hitting bestseller lists, royalties. Funding 3 new shelter branches, including one named Harlan Haven for multi-generational families. I'd crisscrossed the country. Planes, trains, endless hotel lobbies. Sharing stages with icons, my voice amplified by microphones that once would have terrified me. At 65, I'd traded knitting needles for keynote slides, but the threats hadn't stopped. They evolved. Online harassment escalated to stalked events. A brick through Willow House's window, etched with traitor grandma. Security details became routine, funded by grants I'd helped secure. Alex had transformed, or so it seemed. Steady job, weekly therapy, co-parenting with Sarah under strict guidelines. He'd even spoken at a few of my events, anonymized as a reformed perpetrator. His testimony raw. I was the villain in my own story. My grandmother called me out, and it saved me. Audiences ate it up. Redemption sells. But privately, cracks showed. Sarah confided over coffee. He's great with the kids, Evelyn. But last week, during a handoff, he snapped at Mark over nothing, old tones creeping back. I confronted him during a family Zoom, Lisa mediating, Dr. Reyes on standby. Alex, setbacks happen, I said, screen pixels softening the edge in my voice. But vigilance is non-negotiable. One raised voice and access ends. He rubbed his temples, background showing his tidy apartment, books on anger management stacked neatly. I know, Gran. Stress from work. Won't happen again. It did, subtly. A missed visit. Excuses piling like unpaid bills. Then the call from Sarah at midnight. Evelyn, he's here. Outside my apartment, pounding the door. Says he needs to talk. About us. My blood ran cold. I dialed 911 while speeding over in my Buick, sirens wailing in the distance. Police arrived first. Alex was cuffed, protesting it was just a conversation. Violation of custody terms, again. Bail denied this time. History weighed heavy. In the sterile visiting room the next day, glass separating us, he looked defeated. Orange jumpsuit hanging loose. Gran, I slipped. The award news hit the papers. Everyone praising you for exposing me. Felt like drowning. Excuses, I snapped, Kane tapping the floor. You built this prison. The award isn't about shaming you. It's about saving others from men like who you were. He pressed his palm to the glass. Who I am. Help me, please. At 65, mercy wars with wisdom. I bailed him under conditions. Inpatient program. No contact with Sarah or kids until cleared. Lisa railed, "You're too hard on him." But Sarah hugged me. "You're protecting us." Again, the incident made headlines. Advocate's grandson relapses. Cycle continues. Pundits dissected it on talk shows. My inbox overflowed with "I told you so" from skeptics. But it fueled my fire. I channeled it into a new initiative. Relapse Realities. Workshops for families navigating post-abuse reconciliation. First session at Willow House drew 50 tour. Perpetrators' relatives grappling with hope versus harm. Maria co-facilitated. Evelyn's story shows change is possible, but probationary. Boundaries aren't betrayal. They're blueprints. Alex entered a 90-day residential program. Intensive. No visitors first month. Letters arrived weekly. Apologies. Insights. Drawings from the kids he'd scanned before the slip. Gran. I'm seeing the entitlement roots. Generations deep. Won't let it define me. Meanwhile, my health faltered. A hip flare-up from travel. Doctor's orders to slow down. At your age, Evelyn, rest isn't optional, he chided. But rest, with shelters calling, bills pending in Congress, I adapted. Virtual keynotes from my den, surrounded by award plaques and family photos. Fractured but framed. Sarah blossomed further. Promoted to head nurse, Mark proposing under a willow tree. She asked me to walk her down the aisle. You're the family I chose. The wedding was intimate. Kids as ring bearers. Alex absent, but sending a video message. Happy for you, Sarah. Truly. Release day came. Alex emerged, gaunt but grounded. We met at a neutral cafe. Me, Lisa, Dr. Reyes. No more chances, I stated. Earn trust daily. He agreed. Starting slow, monitored calls with kids, community service at a DV hotline. Months passed without incident. Supervised visits resumed. His daughter, now 8, asked, "Daddy, why did you go away?" He answered honestly, "I made bad choices, learning to make good ones." At 65, turning 66 soon, I celebrated with a quiet gala, fundraiser at Willow House raising $100K. Alex attended, low-key, helping set tables. "Proud of you, Gran," he whispered. "Proud of us," I corrected. Yet vigilance lingers. Cycles don't break overnight. They fracture, reform, require constant mending. Threats persist. A hacked email account spewing my personal details. But allies rally. Cybersecurity pros volunteering, community watchers forming. If you're in the trenches, survivor, supporter, seeker, know this. Awards fade, but actions endure. Set boundaries like steel. Hope, but verify. Your fight matters. The crowd's roar faded into a distant hum as I stepped off the stage in Los Angeles. The spotlight's heat still clinging to my skin like a fever dream. But it was the anonymous email that arrived backstage that night. "Your grandson's a fraud, and so are you." That reminded me. Even at the pinnacle, the abyss stares back, testing if we'll flinch or fight on. 4 years had etched themselves into the calendar since that gavel fell, transforming my quiet retirement into a crusade that spanned continents. At 65, no, 69 now, with a birthday passed in a flurry of Zoom toasts, I'd outlived expectations, including my own. The National Advocate Award was just one jewel in a crown of honors. Honorary doctorates, a lifetime achievement from the UN's gender equality arm. Even a documentary crew shadowing me for Silent No More. The Harlan legacy. But legacies aren't built on accolades. They're forged in the quiet reckonings. The ones that happen when the cameras click off. Alex's relapse had been a pivot, not an end. Post-inpatient, he dove deeper, bar for the underlying addictions he'd masked. A mentorship role in Batterist groups, where he led sessions on accountability. "Gran," he'd said, during a rare unmediated lunch, fork hovering over salad. "I get it now. Change isn't a destination, it's the road." He'd remarried quietly. A woman from his support circle, both survivors turned advocates. Their vow exchange included promises of therapy check-ins, a model for healthy unions. The kids, now preteens, navigated 2 homes with grace. Weekends with Dad, holidays blended. Sarah's wedding to Mark had set the tone. Forgiveness as choice, not obligation. Threats. They morphed into background noise, managed by a pro bono legal team I'd assembled through connections. One stalker was prosecuted, turning my case into precedent for protecting elder activists. Willow House? Thriving. With international sister sites, my donation had snowballed into millions via fundraisers, including a gala where Alex spoke alongside me. My grandmother didn't save me. She showed me how to save myself. Health-wise, I'd slowed. Hip replacement last year, dictating chapters for my second book from a sunlit porch. Boundaries and breakthroughs chronicled the relapses, the generational healing. Lisa now co-facilitating groups, her own marriage mended through counseling. Family dinners were regular, laughter outweighing lulls. The kids called me Super Gran, gifting handmade capes for my travels. Yet closure isn't tidy. A late-night confession from Alex during a storm power outage. I still fight the urges, Gran. Every day. I nodded in the candlelight. That's why we have tools. Use them. At 69, I've buried illusions of perfection. Abuse's roots run deep. Uprooting is lifelong labor. The documentary premiered to standing ovations, weaving my story with others, women I'd mentored, men like Alex rewriting their scripts. Critics called it raw hope. I called it truth. Proceeds to scholarships for DV survivors in nursing, like Sarah, now a department head mentoring the next generation. As I sit in my garden today, roses blooming defiant against frost, I reflect. That courtroom thunderclap wasn't an end, but an echo rippling outward. From sued grandmother to global voice, I've learned age amplifies, doesn't diminish. If my tale teaches one thing, speak your truth. Donate your wins. Hold boundaries like sacred ground. To you watching, whether in shadows or light, know this. Your chapter isn't written yet. Reach for help. Extend a hand. Rewrite the narrative. The world shifts one voice at a time. Thank you for joining this journey. If it moved you, share it. Silence ends here.